morning friends, Robin here from Cheese from Scratch, and today I'm going to teach you guys how to hand milk a cow. For those of you that have never been to my channel before, I have two cows to milk and I am currently calf sharing with both of them. So these are their calves, and so they get milked up at night, and then in the morning I come down and milk them half out, and then they go back with their babies for the day, and then repeat this cycle at night. So Tiger and Cammy, who will be my future family milk cow. All right, so I'm gonna lock these guys up. Their moms are waiting to be reunited with their calves as well as be milked. So we'll milk Brie first. That's just, cows really like routine, and that's just always what we do. We always milk Brie first, and that just kind of sets our day up for success. All right, come on guys. So everybody knows the drill. Same thing happens every single day. Calves get locked in this little section. Cleaning the cat. His mom cleans him too. It's funny. He likes it. Alright, and then Brie comes first. So she is in her sassy era. And then Annabelle will wait until we're all done. And Annabelle is in her patient era, being an older milk cow. You, on the other hand. All right, come on, girl. Get in your spot. Right, so Brie's all in the head gate here. So you don't have the fancy head gate or anything like that. But that's just my milking setup. So she's in that head gate, and then I still halter her up because she's a heifer. So basically you just want to have them in some sort of position where they can't be really moving around on you or anything like that. The reason that I halter Brie up, even though she is in the head gate, is because she will look around for grain and stuff and just won't stand as still as I need her to. So she is still a heifer, meaning that this is her first lactation. She's been in lactation since September though, so she's doing pretty good. But yeah, this just ensures that she doesn't wiggle around. I don't usually do this with Annabelle unless she's like in heat or something and really moving around. All right, so she's all set, and now we're gonna get her all cleaned up for milking. All right, so over on my messy table here, I brought down a thermos of rags. Thermos of rags from the house, warm water, and soap. And I usually bring down, it's kind of a rainy day today, usually bring down a lot of rags on a rainy day because sometimes they're pretty gross. So just giving her a nice clean. I'm only taking milk from the first two teats, and then I leave the last ones for Tiger. So unless they're really gross and like things are gonna fall into my milk bucket, I don't even bother cleaning the back ones. There is like, people say that you're not supposed to use as much water if you can help it, because water drips and it will drip to the lowest point on the teat. So if you have bacteria up here and you wash your cow with water, it's going to drip down and it will be at the teat ending, which can lead to infection and things like that. But you just have to use water. So if you can, like, dry clean, but also people that just dry clean, they also use a pre-teat dip. So that's something that you can look into. Some people use a pre-teat dip, which is like a iodine-based dip that they put on before and then they wipe off. I think they wipe off. Actually, I've never used it before. But that just helps to keep it extra clean. But I don't do that. I just wash them really good, make sure they're all clean, and then I'm good to go with that. All right, so the first thing you always want to do when you first come to start milking your cow, I put a little bit of cream on. You don't have to put cream on, but I use like a little udder balm, and that just kind of lubricates things, also keeps it nice for her. So the first thing you want to do is you want to take out 2 or 3 strips from each teat that you're planning on milking. And so that's the highest somatic cell count milk, and you just don't want it in your bucket. All right, and so the first thing we do is what I like to call full hand milking. So you're gonna have your hand like a C here, and like a C, and you're just gonna come up, kind of put it to the top, and then your fingers are going to roll. So fingers are going to roll and squeeze, roll and squeeze, roll and squeeze. And it's really, once you get the motion, you can go faster, but just start out by learning how to go slow. So C, put it on there. She doesn't like me talking. So you're gonna pinch the milk into the teat and then roll your fingers onto it. But it all happens very closely because your fingers don't go that far away. And you're it's a little bit of a pull down motion. And you can see those motions of rolling are quite subtle. It's almost like you just have to kind of pinch the top. It's so hard to explain. You just kind of have to pinch the top so the milk gets locked into the teat. And then once it's locked in, then you can squeeze it out. And every once in a while you can see that I'm stripping a few strips like this. And so once you get kind of going into a rhythm of it, every once in a while you'll have it where you just feel like you need to do that because you're not packing as much milk in the teat. That kind of encourages them to have a little bit of a letdown. And so eventually you're going to get to a point where when you're trying to do the full hand milking, it's just kind of spitting up. There's not much. This is me full hand milking. It's not a nice stream. It's just me kind of spitting up. And to get any effective milk stream out, you have to do this stripping motion of where you take your two fingers and sort of strip down. And so this is the final stages of milking. This is where you're getting the last bits of it out. And every once in a while you can just do a little bit more of a full hand milk, but you're getting to the end. There's not as much milk in there anymore. So little tiny spit, all I can get, she's good. It's got a little bit more in it. Okay, there we go. So nothing but spit coming out at the very end, no stream of milk or anything. And that's my indication that she is stripped out on those quarters. And it's really important to get your cows stripped out on the quarters as best as possible because this is going to keep them from having milk left over in their udder. It's less important for me because I'm calf sharing. So oftentimes, like I went way farther today than I usually do. I won't do that kind of tedious and stripping out because I know her calf's going to drink it and he's going to do even better job than I do of getting her completely empty. So that's a benefit of calf sharing, but if you are not calf sharing, you want to make sure that you're getting them completely stripped out, and that's going to be a good mastitis prevention for you. Okay, be polite. All right, so now Bree gets her grain. I never grain while I am milking because that just encourages bad behavior. Hey, Missy? Yeah, because if they finish their grain before you're done milking, then they're going to be dancing around. And yeah, it's a bit of a pain because you do have, like, it takes a little bit longer, but it's an extra 5 minutes that saves me from having to deal with a bad behaved cow. All right, so while Bree eats her grain, I just want to show you this teat dip. So this is a teat dip cup. You can get it at any feed store or Amazon or whatever you want. It's got a special teat dip in it. And so this is just a really low dose iodine mixture that is labeled as post teat dip. So usually if I'm not calf sharing, after I finish milking my cows, I put this onto their teats. So all you do is you just kind of squeeze up on the bottle and it fills the cup, and you put that up on the teat, put that up on the teat, put it up on the teat, up on the teat. And so that is going to be a good barrier for bacteria getting up into the udder. So for the first 20 minutes after a cow calves, or after a cow has, for the first 20 minutes after a cow is milked, the teat canals that lead up into their udder are actually open. It takes a little while for those to close up. And so teat dip is important to help bacteria from getting into the udder during that really vulnerable time. So if Brie was to go out and lay in a big pile of cow patty, it would be less susceptible to having mastitis occur. Now, because I am calf sharing, and the calves are going to go on the calf is going to go on her right directly after milking, I am not currently using teat dip because calves actually have something in their saliva that helps to block those teat ducts so that bacteria isn't gonna get up in there. Just think about, in nature, in beef cows where calves are drinking on their moms, a lot, and they're not having that problem with mastitis. And that same thing, like my calves are drinking on my cows all day, but they're not having that problem with mastitis because their saliva is actually protecting their mom from having bacteria enter up into the teat canals. So I also think it's better for the calves too if I don't use it. So it's kind of a personal choice. You've got to decide. If I had a cow that had a heavy history of mastitis, if I had a really dirty housing area, so if my bedding was not really clean, I would consider using a post-teat dip. And when I'm done calf sharing, I will go back to using a post-teat dip. But yeah, like sometimes though, like it's just really mucky out and gross, and that is a good preventative measure to keep bacteria out of the udder. So that's teat dip. Yeah. Annabelle is just patiently waiting for her turn here. She looks uber impressed. She never wanted to become an Instagram cow, or YouTube cow, I guess, in today's video. But the Instagram life shows you, Annabelle. She's like, oh, you're so annoying. Anyway, so when Brie is done her grain, I will get Brie out, which is always a little trick because she is a sassy heifer. Get Brie out, and then Annabelle is very good. She'll just walk right in, go into her head gate where she's supposed to be. And then I put Tiger out with Brie, and then milk Annabelle, and then I put Annabelle's calf in with Annabelle. And the reason that I do that is just like a calf sharing organizational thing, because Tiger is way more aggressive if I let him out with Annabelle. So that Tiger is Brie's baby. If I let Brie's baby out with Annabelle, he would drink off Annabelle and Annabelle would let him, whereas Brie doesn't let Cammy, Annabelle's baby, drink off her. She's way less aggressive, and so that's just how I've kind of set it up. Hi, Orange Susan. Oh, I gotta give you milk. All right, so why hand milking versus machine milking? I choose to hand milk my two cows specifically because I don't have a machine that works really good, and we've had a machine in the past. It just was always broke down. So if you're going to invest in a machine, make sure that you're investing in a machine that is good quality and that you can also buy parts for. So really important to find one that it is easy to get parts for. Our problem with us is we bought one that was just like not a very good brand. It was a really long time ago that I think it was like 10 years ago that we bought it. It wasn't a really good brand, really difficult to get parts for, and we ordered so many different parts trying to fix this thing, and it just was a lemon. So we decided after that, you know what, hand milking is just low maintenance. We're not going to have to worry about fixing machines. And even when we started milking two cows, I was a little bit like, oh, well, maybe we'll have to invest in a machine if, you know, this is too much, but it hasn't been too much, especially with calf sharing. Like, I'm only milking out half a cow anyways. Most of the time it's just me standing here waiting for them to finish grain. Really, it takes me maybe 10 minutes, maybe, to milk out half of the cow, and then put them back with their calf. So it's really not that much of a time investment once you learn how to do it. The time investment comes when you are just first learning how to hand milk a cow. It takes a long time. It's so much of a brain activity. You think, oh, people make it look so easy, you know, they can milk their cows so quickly, but it really does take a little bit of getting your brain used to that motion of milking. It's not as easy as it looks, but once you get it, then you just know it. It's like riding a bike. It's just gonna be something that you're gonna have for the rest of your life. So just getting through that first month of having a milk cow until you get, you know, a little bit quicker and stuff. When you first bring a milk cow home, like expect it to take an hour to milk your cow, and that is a realistic number, especially because you know you're training your cow to a new situation. You hopefully are not training a heifer for your first time hand milker. That's my recommendation, don't get a heifer. But you know, so there's things going on that are going to make it take longer, as well as you are learning how to milk a cow, and that is hard as well. So it's not easy at the beginning, but it's so worth it once you figure out how to actually do it. Now I will say, because cows have to be milked at least once a day, if not twice a day, depending on what their schedule is or where they are at in their lactation, sometimes having a machine and having your cow trained to a machine is nice for getting a relief milker. So if you were going to go on vacation or anything like that, it's a whole lot harder to find somebody that can hand milk a cow versus someone where you could just train them how to use the machine. So that is kind of the trade-off of it. We don't go many places very often, and we do have a couple people in our community that know how to hand milk cows, and so yeah, we utilize those resources, so we're really lucky in that way. But yeah, and I just love hand milking. It's one of the best parts of my day. You know, I sometimes listen to a podcast, I sometimes just sit and reflect. I don't know what I do. Sometimes just sit and like zone out and milk. Yeah, but it's just a really good part of my day that I really enjoy most of the time. I don't enjoy it so much when I'm having to do it twice a day, but that's only for a small portion of time, like right after our cow calves. Usually we keep the calf on 24/7 and still milk twice a day for at least a month, sometimes 2 months. And then even once you wean, usually once we wean, milk twice a day for a little bit until we figure out how much milk they're actually producing. And then if they are bred, that's the big key there, they have to be bred. If they are bred and over peak lactation, which usually happens between 60 to 90 days after they calve, we can move them to once a day milking, even if they're not capturing. All right, no. Shh. Oh no. Come on. And so you can see Bree's udder is quite full at the moment. So once Tiger is done drinking, I will show you what her udder looks like. But if you are not capturing and you're trying to make sure your cow is milked out, you know, that's a visual of what an empty udder looks like. It's also handy. Some cows hold more fat in their udder than others, so sometimes it looks a little bit different. But once you get to know your cow's udder, you can tell what is empty and what is not empty. All right, now for Annabelle. Oh, you can see she is really dirty. We had a lot of rain yesterday. Her udder's not too bad though, so she locks herself into the head gate, and then I'll just wash her up here. And really, when you are washing, you should take one corner, do one teat, then take another corner of your cloth, do another teat, so that you're not cross-contaminating anything from one teat to the other. And then any like sort of debris or anything that are going to fall in the pot or in the milk pot, I like to just kind of get off. And then I dry. You don't have to dry. I like the feeling of a dry udder a little bit better. Some people brush their cows before they milk just so that nothing's going to fall into the pot. I almost feel like it opens a can of worms where now you have all this hair and debris and stuff floating around your milking area. Sometimes it's better to just leave it where it lies. And then a little bit of a cream for Annabelle as well. Cough. And while I put the cream on, just so I don't forget to strip out. Strip, 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 strip. Now Annabelle gets a letdown later after I start milking. who I really love. She is so messy. My head up against Annabelle today. All right, so she gets a letdown after about a little bit after I start milking. So at first it's sort of slow. I do a few stripping motions, but eventually she lets down and then we get going. So cows can have multiple different letdowns, and the more you keep to their routine, the more you have them on a good schedule, the easier it's going to be for you because they are going to let down better. Annabelle likes to shuffle around a bit, but she usually just moves her feet. She doesn't usually kick the bucket, unless I really am annoying her. You can see my milk is nice and clean, even though Annabelle is quite dirty, but that's because her udder, I just made sure it was nice and clean, that nothing wasn't gonna fall off if there's a lot of hair or anything, you know, getting that off. But yeah, you can definitely have very clean milk by just having hand milking. So I'm gonna give Annabelle her grain, and then we're gonna go and feed my bottle baby before I take the milk up to the house and show you guys how I clean it. As I said, cows are such routine animals that if you change anything, they're going to be having a harder time letting down. You know, they're not going to be as calm as if you do everything the same way every single time. It's just going to make your life and their life easier. So one thing that I do for Annabelle, and this is just an example of some of the little tiny things that make life easier, is I let her out of the head gate when she's done milking, put her in, she goes into that little half side door because she knows that's what she has to do. I give her grain over there and I lock this head gate so she can't get back in there, because I go and do stuff while she's finishing her grain, so I don't have to stand around and wait for her. And sometimes I'm not quite done whatever I have to do by the time she is done her grain. So I also lock Bree back onto that side of the gate so that I just leave this open. Now Tammy's gonna go have a drink. I just leave this alleyway open. Now I'm gonna go and feed my bottle baby, and I'll be back in like 10 minutes, but she's probably gonna be done her grain so she can come and lounge out in this little area before I let her back out with the other cows. All right, so now I gotta go feed my bottle baby. If you are new to my channel, we also have a beef cattle ranch. So currently we are calving out 200 beef cows, and we're over 100 now. But I have a little bottle baby that his mom doesn't have very good udder. He's still out with his mom because he still drinks off of her and everything, but is that nice milk? But we are just supplementing him twice a day. Oh no. Okay, well don't pour like this. Okay, that was messy. Got myself all wet. All right, so just 2 liters I take from my bottle baby, and then the rest I save for the house. And then if at night our bottle baby gets fed too, so we either warm up some of this or just give him a milk replacer, depending on if I'm making cheese or not. Yeah, get this top on. If you get the top wet, way easier to get the bottle on. So that's why I spilled. All right, now we're gonna go feed this to that little bottle baby. Yeah, so they're going to eat grain and milk, and then they can come out here, and then they go out that door there. We need to change the bedding in here. Today, that is a today task. All right, so I got the milk seatbelt in. It rained like crazy yesterday. All day it rained yesterday. So everything is so squishy out here today. Squishy and lucky. It was finally starting to dry up because we're in northern British Columbia. So, you know, like snow was just, you know, started to melt. Everything was mucky for a while, but we just started to have it dry up, and now it is all squelchy again. All right, so this is our calving grounds. It's once you get out here, it's pretty dry. So you'd think it would be hard to find my bottle baby, but I don't have to find him, he finds me. Alright. Yes. Look at his lips. Yeah, but a bit of runny eyes today. Good girl. That's all for now. All right, now to get away from him. I'll have to keep an eye on his runny eyes. All right, so they're waiting for me. Like, let us out so we can go to the feeder. Come on, guys. Annabelle. All right, so Annabelle's udder is completely empty. There's no chance that Cammy left anything behind. And so this is what her udder looks like. Oh, sorry, girl. So this is what her udder looks like. It's still quite full, you can see, but that's because she has a very beefy udder, whereas Bree has a less beefy udder. You coming? And that's just their body types. I'll actually put in an udder example of Bree's because we already went out to the feeder. But yeah, so different cows' udders will look different when they are empty or not, but yeah, it's just about knowing what your cow's udder does. Alright, so I'm just adding this clip in from a previous video where I was actually showing how different udder types can actually cause your cow to either hold back or not hold back as much cream. So I'll actually link that link below. But this is Bree's udder completely empty, so it looks a lot different than Annabelle's udder completely empty. Hers really folds up a lot better and it really looks like an empty udder, whereas Annabelle's, when it's empty, she still has a lot of beefiness in the upper part of her udder, which can be confusing when you're first learning how to milk a cow until you get to know your cow's udder and know what it looks like when she is empty. Alright, so once you have milked out your milk, you're going to take it up to wherever you plan on cleaning it. I clean mine in my bathroom, so no hate. It's not the greatest place to clean it, but it's also the only place that I have. So I have this milk strainer. It has these little disposable filters that I put into it. You can get these on Amazon or at any feed store. My milk filter is an old vintage one, so the ones that you can find probably don't look quite like this one. I love this one if you ever do find one like this. It is an awesome filter, but the ones that are available on like Amazon and stuff look a little bit different. So all you're going to do is put your disposable milk filter into your milk strainer, and then I just kind of secure the lid on top, and then I just pour my milk straight through my milk strainer, and so this is going to catch any debris or anything. Now I try and clean my milk quite quickly after I do milk. Like today you saw that I had to go out and feed my bottle baby. It's pretty cool here yet in this climate where we live, whereas if I was in summer where it was like 30 degrees Celsius and you know it's quite hot, I'm going to be a lot more diligent about being really quick to get that milk strained so that there isn't any debris or anything. And I'm also going to be careful about making sure that I'm not keeping the milk really if there is a lot of debris and gross poop and everything in there. You know, I try to keep the milk as clean as possible during milking time, and then I try to make sure it gets strained quite quickly, and that's going to keep my milk really good for not only drinking but also using for cheese making. So really important for me that I am keeping my milk really healthy and that it's not going to have any opportunity for environmental bacteria to start to thrive in my milk, because I don't want that. It's not going to bode well for my cheeses, and it's not going to bode well for my family's health. Once it's all strained, it just goes into some nice clean jars or into the cheese pot and gets refrigerated, and that's that. We have finished milking for the day. Now I do my dishes, my milking dishes, get them all cleaned up, and that's the end of my milking chore. So thank you guys for watching my video today. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. I post a new video every Monday on all things cheese making, milk cows, and dairy. Alright, we'll see you guys next week. Bye!